tease y'all too often, but I had to there. Going to the break, I told you there was some big news, and there is some big news. Matt McMahon continues to keep the train rolling. Adam Miller has announced, as to quote Adam Miller, not enough dirt on his boots yet. He will stay in Baton Rouge and play for the Fighting Tigers. Of course, Miller, who transferred in from Illinois, he was a starter as a freshman on a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, tore his ACL just prior to the season last fall, did not get to play a single minute. He has been cleared fully for athletic performance. He was looking at LSU and TCU, where Jamie Dixon is the head coach. Jamie Dixon coached him with Team USA a couple of summers ago, and after looking through every option, he is coming back to Baton Rouge. Mr. Hill, that is good.
That's good. That's unbelievable to me. I thought that guy was signed, so delivered. He was getting the next flight out of town. So you get a guy like that with the experience he has at the college level. I think last year, it would have put the team just totally over the top. But now you get an opportunity to come back next season and get a guy like Adam Miller, to me, who's really a really good guard, man. He can score on all 3 levels. He's a great passer, and I think he's got to really make plays for the Tigers next season.
No doubt about it. And look, I believe in this sport that roster management is the most important thing. It's why I loved so much that Will Wade was the head coach at LSU, because you could count on a solid roster. Was Will Wade above and beyond in X's and O's? No, he was not by anyone's estimation. And were there issues with the program? Yeah. But roster management was his strength. And Matt McMahon has shown in his first couple of months here in Baton Rouge that he has put this roster together very, very strongly given the circumstances. I still don't think this is a top 5 team in the SEC. It's a loaded league with a lot of really good coaches and a ton of really good players. But the fear that I had was this was going to be totally non-competitive for 18 games in conference play. That is not even close to the actual situation that we have now. You've got a team that's got Justice Hill at the point, who ran the point for a really good team last year in Murray State. You got Adam Miller, a proven commodity as a college player, as a shooting guard and a potential NBA prospect there. You know what you've got in Imwani Wilkinson. You've got a couple of top 60 players in the country who can play at the 4 spot. You brought in KJ Williams at the 5, who was the Conference Player of the Year in the Ohio Valley last year and is a proven college player at 6'10". You've brought in Cam Hayes from NC State, who has played valuable minutes. Trey Hannibal, who was a backup 6-man for Murray State that has played in the Southeastern Conference. You've brought in Derek Fountain as a depth piece in the front court, who was at Mississippi State. This has been really impressive to watch, and Miller becomes probably your most potent scorer right out of the chute in the 2-guard spot, and they kept him in Baton Rouge some way, somehow.
Yeah, they found a way to do it. I think we were just talking about it, like, what is Coach McMahon doing with this huge cloud over the program and still being able to get guys to, commit and come play and want to be Fighting Tigers. I think it's a beautiful thing. And I think for a guy like Adam, seeing that, that lefty approach, I think it shocks a lot of people. I'm guarding right-handed guys, and then you get this lefty who can really score it and drive it. I think it's gonna really work for him. So I'm excited to see this team and how competitive they're going to be, because I think I agree with you there. I just didn't see them being competitive at all. It'd be hard to cut the TV on sometimes. So it's going to be good to know that they're going to be at least competitive next season.
Look, the biggest question is simply unanswerable. We don't know when the NCAA is going to drop this hammer, and we don't know, obviously, how large that hammer is going to be. These things take time. There is a process that goes through. LSU has obviously received the notice of allegations. Everyone here has seen it. Now LSU has to do their own investigation, present their findings, and plead their case to the NCAA, which will take that and then dole out a punishment. That can take a lot of time. More often than not, the NCAA will drop that thing at the worst opportune time. They will drop it right in front of the season, in the middle of the season. They can do that. There's no period where you have to find out what the issue is. Ole Miss's football program sat there and flapped in the breeze forever. Oklahoma State, same type deal. And eventually it comes down, and everyone can take a deep breath when you actually know what the issue is. But LSU right now has to go ahead and fight it. And it's very obvious that they were more intent on fighting the charges and sacrificing Will Wade than straight up fighting for Will Wade and the basketball program. That's the way they decided to do it. Mm-hmm. We'll see what the outcome is. How much of this they can pin simply on Will Wade, I'm skeptical, because in my opinion, when you play ball with the NCAA, you get burned. When you tell the NCAA to kick rocks, you usually win. LSU's decided to play ball, so we'll see what the NCAA does. But any way you slice it, this team is going to be pretty fun to watch and competitive. It's just a matter of do they have any end goals this season? That's a question we can't answer at this point.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really knows. It's really no timetable, which is what I hate about the NCAA. There's no structure. It's kind of just, end all be all, judge, jury, executioner, and they kind of just run it the way they want to. There's no, okay, once we kind of look into this investigation, once we get you the notice of allegations, you got a year or you got 6 months. There's really no timetable. So you're kind of just in no man's land. You're in limbo, and it's just a tough place to be, which is why I'm still so shocked Coach McMahon is doing what he's doing, getting guys to come play for this program with that uncertainty ahead. But, yeah, I don't think anyone's going to know. You just got to have to wait it out and wait for the news to pop up that day.
There's one spot left on this roster, and so Matt McMahon can look around and see what he wants to do with that. The name that I have heard the most connected to the last spot on this roster is Sean Phillips. He is a 4-star center. He's 6'10", 250 pounds from Arizona. NC State and Kansas State very much in the mix there. Cincinnati as well, but LSU trying to get in the mix with Sean Phillips. He would be a guy who would be on next year's team and trying to get as much depth in the front court as they could. They've got size. It's a matter of how competent that size is beyond KJ Williams, who we know can play at the college level and be an effective player on the post. So Sean Phillips still has to make his decision. If he were to come in Baton Rouge, you'd really have some impressive size and length in the front court to go along with what's a really solid group of guards. I mean, your guards right now are Justice Hill from Murray State, Adam Miller, obviously from LSU. You go and you have Trey Hannibal from Murray State. You got Justice Williams, who we know here from LSU. You got Cam Hayes from NC State. It's a pretty good guard group. Yeah. Just a question of what do they have in the front court beyond KJ Williams, and Phillips would be a really nice add if they could find a way to get him.
Yeah, I think we were just talking about that before this segment. They need a 5. I think they need a 5 bad. I think I trust KJ there, but to me, like if you could get a true real 5 to bang, because you're gonna be dealing with Oscar Tshiebwe. Like a lot of these bigs are still gonna be around in the SEC. A lot of veteran-led bigs, so you're gonna need that presence down there. Because last year, I think that's what this team desperately needed. You didn't get that production you needed from Efton Reed. So if you can get a big that can really, average 8, 9, 10 rebounds a game, and be that presence on the defensive side, it really helped this team out a ton.
Again, this is something I brought up when KJ Williams came to Baton Rouge, but this is and Adam Miller, same way has ties to LSU. He obviously is enrolled here, so it's not that big a stretch. But there obviously had to be a sales pitch there to bring Adam Miller back, and that's not a guy who he had a relationship at all. I'm quite confident that Murray State wasn't recruiting Adam Miller, who was a top 50 player in the country who was going to Illinois. I don't think Murray State was in the mix. So that's a new guy that he had to form a relationship with. And when Matt McMahon was hired, everyone talked about how good he was, one, as a guy, as a person, and two, as an X's and O basketball coach. That was kind of the known commodity with him. And, of course, you get Ja Morant, and that leads you to new heights at Murray State that you've never been on. He's one of the best players on the planet. But, what was he going to be like as a recruiter, as a salesman of the program, dealing with athletes at a profile that he had not really dealt with at Murray State? And to this point, I really can't give him any higher marks because of what he's dealing with in terms of the sanctions laying over the program. I don't know if he's going to these guys and never mentioning it. I don't know if he's telling them that he has a good feeling about it. I don't know if he's saying, yeah, we're not going to play in the pro season, but just come play. I don't know what he's saying. It's working, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, it is. That's been the biggest shocker to me because, you look at most situations where schools are getting hammered with postseason bans. You suffer in recruiting. You suffer in the transfer portal. Things aren't going well, and it takes you a very, very long time to get back competitive and get things going in the right direction. So to see Coach McMahon kind of doing that overnight, it feels like it's been, 4 or 5 months so far. So it's crazy. So you got to tip your cap to him.
So if you missed the news, Adam Miller from LSU staying at LSU, not headed to Texas Christian. So that is a big get. Adam Miller, plug and play. He is your starting 2-guard from day one, if I've got this right. And that's a huge get for LSU, and a former top 50 player who was a Team USA guy who certainly would have helped. I think one thing with Miller is that his legend continued to grow last year as LSU just struggled so mightily to find any way to get buckets. And you're like, well, Miller would fix the whole thing. Well, I mean, he's not. You're not talking about Kevin Durant here, but he's a good 2-guard at the college level who made some shots for Illinois. He actually led the Big Ten in threes made by a freshman when he was up there at Illinois, and was a starter again on a 1 seed. Had a really good game in Cameron, an empty Cameron basically, but a Cameron nonetheless with the COVID protocols. So big get for Matt McMahon. Was going to talk about that in the second hour as just kind of to preview it. I didn't know when the announcement was coming, but it did come via his Instagram, so you can take it to the bank. LSU basketball has made it official on theirs as well.
Thanks so much for watching Hun Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.